Ah, there I am. Yeah, everything's working. Okay. Hello. Yeah, I believe everything's, yeah, okay. Hello, I'm Val Smith, and, before I start, I just want to apologize that it's taken so long to do this sort of reply. I didn't mean for it to take so long, it's just because of everything that's happened. It's kind of throwing me off in terms of figuring stuff out to do on videos in this channel. If that makes sense. Anyways, that all aside, let's get into this. So, change is good is a tag where, as a writer, you describe how you edited and changed your characters that you've written over for a period of time. So, I'm going to talk about the characters and how I've changed them over a period of time in the novel I've been writing, sort of children's novel fantasy thing. Um, so let's just go over a little bit of summary of it. So in the summary of the book I'm writing, I think I'm going to go with the title "An Honest Liar." Tell me if you like it. I think it's a decent title. I'm not sure. Anyways, so the summary is this: this kid makes up all these different characters to basically blame for his own faults, mistakes, if you like. Eventually manages to bring them to life. He sort of summons them. And after that, basically, these creatures want to stay alive, but they can't stay alive as long as the kid is still around because he can take them back essentially to not being real. So they're trying to destroy him before they're not real anymore. I hope that's clear enough in terms of the summary. Anyway, let's get into the characters. So with Jason, Jason's almost Jason's the main character, the protagonist of the story. Jason's throughout all the development of him, even to now, he's basically stayed mostly the same. I think honestly, the only thing I've really done with this character is like flesh him out a bit, make it more clear in the context of where the story is coming and why the character made so and so decision. Just to make make it more tight fit if that makes sense. So there hasn't been much change in terms of Jason, nor the main villains as well. Again, in terms of the villains, they've almost always been the way they are. I've just fleshed them out. I guess the one thing I will say, at least with the villains, is I in the process of writing it, I kind of figured out what their names were between like Tentacles, Smash Breakers, Rowlick, so on and so forth. Half the time I was kind of making up the character without even knowing their name. So, yeah. Um, Things get interesting though when we get to Jason's parent. Jason's parent was a single dad, then became a single mom. He also had a grandpa who became a grandma, and then his friend who was let's see, his friend was Frank, but then it made it into a her with Lizzie, and then there was a person that got framed for a crime a little later on in the story that was Lizzie, but then became Frank. I just changed the genders to see what fit. Really, I don't. I never really, and I still don't honestly care about writing a person's gender or race into thing. I mean, yeah, I don't know. It just doesn't interest me. I can't focus on it really. Um, so I just change the thing to see what fits better. And the way it is currently with the sexes of such characters, it just fit. Yeah, no. I know that's. I'm sure that's not something most writers would do. It just, I don't know. Yeah, I just use he or she just so I can use he said she said. Ah, hey, it's equal. Honestly, I'm much more interested in things that aren't necessarily human than humans. Not because humans are bad per se. I just kind of find humans boring, and I am a human, so yeah, yeah. Anyways, in the made-up characters of the story, there are other characters that sort of help Jason get through the main plot of the story. Of those characters, there's the Dreamweaver. Now, Dreamweaver is interesting. Dreamweaver, I tried to make kind of like a muse, like the muses of Greek mythology, but it wasn't really working out. So I came up with this cool sort of like it's hard to describe this because it's sort of like this Inception like Inception like thing with the body because the Dreamweaver is like every embodiment of dreams, so it's like being in every dream of every body, if that makes sense. Yeah, it's I definitely written it as clear as I could, but it's hard to describe it. It's trippy. Let's just go with that. It's trippy. Um, Actually works better in the trippy way than it was earlier. So, uh, as for the um, yeah, there's two other imaginary characters that definitely help Jason to become real. They're not villains per se. One is a living embodiment of Sheets. Yes, the talking Sheets and all that. Yeah, yeah, and yeah. Anyways, this talking Sheets pretty much always been the same. Just made better detailed descriptions of its character and expressions and so forth. Expressions, facial expressions, and so on. Let's see. Then there's of course Dusty, just been a big like living furball, I guess. Um, yeah, yeah. That's about all of the major characters. Some of the minor characters I changed a bit here and there. Like oh, one thing I switched was um the main friend of Jason was originally Frank, but it wasn't really working as well. So I made Frank this random like side character who gets framed for a crime. I'm not sure I clarified that enough, so that's kind of what happened there. And then Lizzie became the yeah. Anyways, yeah, that's about it. Later, yeah. I